Hi everyone, I am Molly with Sunny Care Services, and I thought it would be really helpful to kind of show you what Everplans is, what it looks like for you, the user, and how it can be so helpful for your family in a time of crisis or need or emergency. So what you're looking at here is a fictional person I've created named Mary. And this is the dashboard. So this is really what is the overview of all of the information that you're going to store in this system. And so the dashboard kind of works like this. So it's broken down into all the categories down here. You can kind of see financial, legal, health, aging, family, loved ones. But then there's also this scrolling box on the top, and that is kind of highlighting some of the more important information that they think is really critical for you to upload that maybe you haven't uploaded yet. And so it'll kind of show you, okay, we haven't uploaded any emergency contacts, start here. And then you can do it from there. And then once that's done, these boxes start to close out. So you can kind of see I haven't uploaded a ton in here. But I'm just going to kind of show you a look around here of what information you can store. So first we're going to start off with the kind of identification that I think is really nice to have in the event of an emergency or a loss, and that is things like your Social Security card. A quick note about Everplans is that it is HIPAA compliant, and it is also on par with the security standards of online banking. But I know that people still feel tentative, and so I just say if you are feeling cautious about uploading like your actual Social Security number, which I totally understand, then think of Everplans as like a treasure map. So this is where you would want to store things that your family would need to find on behalf of you if something were to happen to you. And so if you don't want to put in the actual number, perhaps you just put in the location. And so you can kind of see here at the middle of the screen that you can just put in the location of where the Social Security card is. That is still really helpful when it comes down to things like how do you manage your time efficiently when you are trying to close out a loved one's life and you need to find these things really quickly, because you may only have so much time to take care of these tasks that come with closing out someone's life. You may have to get back to work, an executor that you may be paying, an hourly fee. All of that is just time and money and resources that don't need to be spent. So why not make it easier on your family, easier on your executor, and just point them in the direct location where that thing is stored, that information, that documentation, whatever that looks like. So that's an example of the kind of information that you can store. Of course, I can store everything from like employment information in terms of who do I work for, who's my manager, do I work part-time? What does that look like? I can also upload any certifications, military service, affiliations, clubs, things that may matter in an obituary, or someone would need to go in and cancel or notify of a passing or an emergency, that type of thing. You move on to digital. I have said this before, but I think passwords are so helpful to have. And it is the number one thing I use when I'm closing out a person's accounts and identity. And that is having the password so I could quickly log in, take care of the account, close it out, and then cancel the service or subscription that's tied with the payment information perhaps. All of that. It is so much easier to do when I have the login information. So again, even if you aren't like a password manager user, which is, I think pretty advanced, maybe you just have a document. And so it'll allow you, you'll see here, to note a file that you have on your computer, and you can even let people know what that file is called, which again helps with this kind of treasure hunt that we're talking about of how do I do things efficiently, how do I make this easier for my family. It may just be helpful for you if you're losing track of where you're keeping things, but it can also let you signify others. So if you just have a notebook somewhere, where is that notebook, where do you keep it? You can kind of list it all right here at where do you store the item, just again so it's helpful for your family to know. It goes through all of the email accounts, social media. If you are using a payment or money management system like a Venmo or a Cash App, if you have cloud storage, if you do a lot of writing or document storage, where do you have that, and what do you want done with it? So Google Drive, how do you access that? What kinds of important things do you keep there? All putting that in the notes and instructions tab. Really great for your family to know that, so that they're not just scanning through tons of documents, not knowing what's of significance, what's not. So you can kind of see it walks you through really an exhaustive list of every online account that you could possibly have. The next thing is property, and I think that this is great because this is showing you not only what property you have, which is really helpful to know, but what is the ownership of that property. So again, if this is a house that you own, is it owned? Is it financed? Are we still paying a mortgage on it? Is it just rented? Who's the insurance with? So if we need to let someone know that the house is empty or it's not occupied right now, what are the utilities? So when we think about experiencing an emergency, crisis, or a loss, we are looking at continuity of how do we keep up that property so that there is no disruption of service if that's what we're looking for. And so having things like utilities listed out for whoever is receiving this information is really going to help ensure that there is no break of service that needs to come to the house. So you can kind of see you can upload all of your utilities here. You can also upload any vendors, any services. So again, this is just making sure that the house is run in the way that you would have wanted it to. Going through financial information, you'll again see here, you can add bank accounts. And again, I just want to say, if you don't feel comfortable adding a bank account number, I think at least mentioning where you bank and what kind of accounts that you have is leading your family closer to where are those assets. Legal, I just want to say here that of course you can upload who your attorney is, which I think is great for your family to know. You can upload a digital copy of the will. I have a whole blog post about this, but you do need to keep that physical copy. But the digital copy is great for referencing really quickly or sending it off to somebody else. But that physical copy is what's going to hold up in court. So you do need to hold on to that. But I still think it's wise to have a digital copy somewhere. All of your health information in terms of who your health insurance provider is, who your doctors are. You can upload your advance directive if you have that, who you've identified to serve in those roles. I think that is great, again, when it comes to an emergency situation. Who are your emergency contacts? Going through who do I need to contact if something does happen to you. Then we go into aging here, which is if you have a care provider, who is that care provider? How are they related to you? What do I need to know about them? A really quick scan. And then finally, this is after I'm gone. So what do you want done with your body after you pass? So do you want to be cremated? Do you want to be buried? What are your funeral preferences? You know, I say that somebody is going to decide this. If it's not you, then it's your family or somebody like that. So I think it is just wise to go ahead and decide this for your family so that they are not burdened and agonizing over these decisions for you when they're already grieving. So that kind of gives you an overview of everything that you can put into Everplans. Of course, you can kind of see how exhaustive it is. And then you can also add deputies. And these are people that would receive your information upon your passing, or if something were to happen to you, you add this person. So we'll put sample person, sample at AOL.com. If I can spell today, then you are going to choose how they receive the information and what information they receive. So if you want this person to not receive anything until after their passing, you can select that. So you can choose after death for everything, or you can choose now for everything. You can go and select different categories or different permissions rather for each category. So it's really helpful if you are wanting to get granular on that. And what that person would do then is they would notify Everplans that there has been a passing, and if they try and contact you and they can't get in touch with you, then they would then release that information to you. So it's a really great system. I hope that this is helpful for you, and if you have any questions, let me know.